So anyway, podcast.
I don't think that Aprilia are going to bottle it if they keep this bike where it is.
Yeah, what's your point?
So it's surprising that it's just him on that one bike.
Motorsport has reached its April break, and we are here to talk about the first 3 rounds of the MotoGP and the Formula One season. Because you and I haven't spoken about Formula One in a long time.
No, we haven't.
That voice you heard was Jake, but we'll get there in a second. And we're also here to give a brief look forward to the only motorsport that we cover that's happening in April, which is the World Endurance Championship. There is, of course, BSB in April, British Superbikes, obviously. There's no Formula E, as you told me on the way in, but nobody cares. And Formula One, Formula E, basically the same thing. For those who caught our Instagram April Fools yesterday, you will have seen that obviously we care about Formula E so much. Welcome back to Ahead at the Apex. Woo! Yeah! Woo! Woo! That voice you heard to my right-hand side, if you're watching left of screen, is Jake. Say hi, Jake.
Hello.
Oh, dude, I finally got Tim.
What do you mean?
I finally got Tim. I finally got him. You know, all these times we've been doing these podcasts and I've been like, say hi, Jake, and then you say hi, and I'm like, oh, man, I wish you'd said hi, Jake, because that would be funny. I finally got Tim. In last week's episode, I said, and I'm joined by Tim and Katie, say hi, Tim and Katie, and Tim goes, hi, Tim and Katie. Like that. I finally got him. Ha-ha. Vindication. How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, pretty good.
Jake, I've got a question for you.
Yes?
What the hell is happening in Italy?
I don't know what you mean.
What is going on in Italy? Because our first segment, which I'm going to put a little banner at the top, is called Forza Italia. Because honestly, quite literally, so to put it into perspective for those who don't know, for the first time ever, Marco Bezzecchi is leading the MotoGP World Championship. Aprilia are 1-2 in the standings. Aprilia are leading the World Championship. Kimi Antonelli is leading the Formula One World Championship. Fabio Di Giannantonio is the top scoring Ducati rider.
Yep.
And Ferrari haven't Woo!
Just wait for strategy to actually play a part.
Quite frankly, it is a good time to be an Italian motorsport fan, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it would be.
What do you mean it would be?
It would be, but we're quite early in the season.
We are 3 races in both instances, and so that's 1/8 of the way through the MotoGP season because they haven't cancelled Qatar; they've just postponed it.
Yep.
And it is just under 1/7 of the Formula One calendar if they choose not to replace Bahrain and Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Which currently, as of the 2nd of April, which is today, they haven't.
No, they haven't.
I have seen that Imola have offered to replace both the Qatar MotoGP race and the Qatar Formula One race, which is a bold strategy from a track that is about 2 weeks away from hosting the World Endurance Championship across 2 weekends.
I'm pretty sure they're also low on money, are they not?
Well, they'd be fairly busy in April because there's only 4 weekends in April. Yeah, and just to double check that maths in my head, there's only 4 weekends in April. 2 of them are currently taken up by the World Endurance Championship, who have the pre-season test the week before the first race of the season, which is now Imola.
Yeah.
Which is happening in the week after this first episode comes out and the week and next week.
Yep.
So that is, I mean, it would have to be this weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about Bez because, quite frankly, he has had the perfect start to 2026. 5th Grand Prix victory in a row.
If you include last year, yeah. It's...
No, let me just. Can I just? Come on.
Sure, go for it.
5th Grand Prix victory in a row. He has led 121 consecutive laps on a Sunday. We should clarify. This is Grand Prix laps only. The previous record was Jorge Lorenzo with 103 laps back in 2015, back at the height of Lorenzo versus Rossi.
Yep.
The US Grand Prix was his arguably weakest of the last 5.
Yeah,
definitely the weakest of the last 3.
In terms of leading up to Sunday, without a doubt, he was pretty nowhere for most of the weekend.
He did put it on. He didn't put it on pole because
Did you did it?
Did you did it?
Did you did it first?
That's South Park. But his winning margin was the smallest.
Yes.
So in the US, he beat Jorge Martin by 2 seconds. In Brazil, he beat Jorge Martin by 3.2 seconds. Important there to remember that both of those are teammates. So that's 2 back-to-back Aprilia wins, which we will get to shortly. In Thailand, he beat Acosta by 5.5 seconds. And then we're going back to last year. So Valencia, Fernandez by 0.6 seconds and Alex Marquez in Portugal by 2.5 seconds. So obviously last year, the bike wasn't as good as it is this year.
I think it's also...
We can discount those winning margins, right?
I think it's also crucial to mention the fact that in Valencia, Fernandez was in the lead for a while and Bez caught him, was it not? Or was it the other way around?
I thought it was the other way around.
Could be the other way around. It's a while.
Valencia, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Valencia where he had his... No, that was Phillip Island. Double long lap.
Yeah.
Because that was where Fernandez won.
Yeah.
Right. For trying to assassinate Marc Marquez. Quite frankly, I mean, look, his sprints have not been great.
I think if he does go and fight for a title at the end of the year, I think his sprints will be the big determining factor whether he actually does win it, because they have been
he's
shocking.
Currently leading.
He's currently leading the title, and that's fair. But comparing him and Martin for sprints, I think Martin's got him.
Well, so
unless he does a wheelie, in which case
we've had 3 sprints, and if I'm correct, Acosta won the first one in Thailand because Mark and he collided.
Yeah, Mark was given a penalty, basically.
Mark was given a drop of place penalty, which is cool. So he was second in Thailand sprint, and then Mark won in Brazil, and then Martin in US in Texas.
Yeah, and then he did the wheelie
and fell off, which was quite funny. But
it's very. So
we've had 3 different sprint winners, so there's no consistency there. But
no,
I mean, it seems currently that nobody can touch Bez
on the Sunday. No chance
at all. And historically speaking, this has been Aprilia's weakest portion of the calendar. I mean, we're going to Spain next, which Aprilia should be fine at. France and then Barcelona. Again, Aprilia should be fine. Mugello should be fine. Hungary, obviously, he was very strong there last year. And then the Czech Republic, both he and Martin were very strong last year. The Netherlands, they might suffer a little bit, but the bike seems much better this year on the tracks like that. Germany should be a Mark stronghold, but again, so should Texas.
Yep.
And then we're in the back end of the season. Imola, Austria, not Imola, San Marino, Austria, Japan, where Bez was very, very strong last year.
Yes, he was.
Aprilia were very, very strong last year. So I think dare I say it, touch wood, we might be over the hurdle.
I don't think that Aprilia are going to bottle it if they keep this bike where it is in terms of pace. But obviously we haven't got that period of time where we've got that upgrade stint.
But I don't think anybody will upgrade, right? Because the bikes are changing next year.
Yeah, I think there might be like tweaks here and there.
Yeah, sure.
Especially Ducati with where they are.
Just so they don't lose face.
Yeah. But if Aprilia don't make an Aston Martin level mistake in an upgrade, if you remember a few years ago, they made an upgrade and they got slower.
Oh, 23?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they don't do that and they don't mess around too much with that bike,
yeah,
I don't think that bike has any particularly heavy weaknesses. It's very fast on the straights. It seems to be incredibly quick in the corners.
So they were always quick in the corners, but where they seem to have gained is, so you're right, they seem to be now equal, if not better, than KTM in a straight line.
Acosta was struggling to keep up with them.
Which was always, Ducati never focused on straight line grunt in the modern era. Like, if we go back to when Ducati sort of early 2010s sort of era, that was their jam. Right,
yeah.
Like, we are the fastest bike in a straight line.
We can't turn corners, but we've got a fast bike.
Right,
yeah.
And then that was always their strength. But then they kind of went to then focus on rear stability under braking, because they realized that actually if the back wheel can stay in contact, there's a lot of braking power there, which means we can shorten the braking zone.
Yep.
And also then we have a hot rear tire for when we come out of a corner and we've got more traction. Which has been Mark's strong point forever. So it was like a partnership in heaven, right?
Yeah.
But KTM seemed to Aprilia seemed to have focused on that extra little bit of horsepower and also that extra rear downforce. Now if you look at the back of the Aprilia versus the back of the Ducati, there's very little difference.
Yeah.
Very little difference. What is quite interesting is the new arm slot things. You seen these?
Yeah.
So fans of Formula One from the early 2010s will remember the F duct, where people were putting their knees up against gaps in the cockpit, or their hands, or whatever it was, elbows. And
it was like cars. A little patch on the glove on it, and they just sort of casually left the, and you could see it. You could see it. The driver and just went.
So what that does is it takes air from the front, and it moves the air through certain parts of the bodywork, so it provides A, extra cooling, B, in sort of internal pressure in the center of mass of the vehicle. Yeah,
and then they just sort of diffused it out.
And in F1, they were blowing it over the diffuser so that you get better rear traction. And I haven't seen where those slots come out on the Ducati, but I keep saying Ducati, where those slots come out on the back of the Aprilia. But I would assume that they come up under the seat and then over the rear wing, because there is no diffuser.
Yeah, so it's definitely around bits of the driver.
Yeah, and what you're kind of doing is you're creating this low pressure area underneath the bike so that the bike is drawn down. Yeah. That obviously means you're faster in a straight line, and
there's less
under braking when the rider's arms come up anyway. Then that works differently. So now the air comes out the top of the bike, which pushes the front down, which keeps everything.
It seems to be
under pressure. It's genius. It's very Ferrari.
It is. But if you're watching other bikes, not just in MotoGP, but other BSB, water bikes, whatever, you can tell that they don't have that level of aero.
Well, they're not allowed to, right? Because BSB is supposed to be super bikes with track tires.
Yeah,
and as is World Superbikes. They are allowed to tweak some aero, but typically those two racing series are bikes that you can go and buy, running maybe special fuels or special tires, or whereas MotoGP is
unique bikes.
They're prototype bikes, so they are allowed to do this sort of thing. But I throw back to Ferrari because Massimo Rivola was a Ferrari chief back in the early 2010s. He was brought in by Piaggio, who I don't know how they're the parent company of Aprilia when they just make mopeds, but sure. To lead Aprilia when they decided to get a bit serious about racing in sort of 2019. And this has been coming for a while. So they invested in the V4 engine back in 2020. They've now, as we've just said, they've got like this F duct thing, and they seem to have progressed. I mean, if we just look compared to last year, so Martin, as we said, so Bez has won every race. Martin was second in Brazil, third in the sprint, fourth in Thailand, fifth in the sprint. He finished second in Texas and won the sprint after Bez fell off. They currently have 81 and 77 points, and they lead. Aprilia lead KTM 158 to 77, and Trackhouse, who are also running in Aprilia, are tied with KTM in second.
Yeah, it's not just the riders and that individual factory team. It's the bike that is.
The bike is a great platform. Because Aprilia lead Ducati 101 to 69 points. Lol. Which is impressive.
Yeah,
very impressive. Compared to last year, where they were the fourth best manufacturer behind Ducati, Honda, and KTM by this point in the season. It's a staggering turnaround, and we've kind of seen it coming for a while.
Yeah.
But another Italian on an Italian bike is Fabio Di Giannantonio. Now, I did not have this on my bingo card for 2026. Did you?
No.
How is the guy who was crashing into everybody last year, well, him and Morbidelli, but how is Fabio Di Giannantonio Ducati's highest scorer in 2026 so far? How are VR46, who, let's not forget, were in discussions to run Aprilia bikes next year, or potentially Yamaha bikes next year, how are they the leading Ducati bike at the moment?
You've also got to remember that it's not like Ducati only have a factory and a satellite. They have a factory and two satellites, and they run multiple different variations of bikes.
Yeah, what's your point?
So it's surprising that it's just him on that one bike.
Well,
it's not him fighting with other Ducati riders on similar bikes.
I did notice, which I thought was quite funny. I think it was during Brazil. It may have even been the sprint, where he and Mark were at the front fighting tooth and nail to take the victory, and his teammate was at the back of the grid.
Yep,
like literally at the back of the grid.
It was similar in the US as well,
and that's the same bike. I'm doing this because it's our Italy segment. Maybe I'll put a little flag up here because it's the same bike. But Digia has only ever taken one pole position before this season. Then he takes two back-to-back poles. And let's not forget, in Brazil, he came through Q1. He and Bez came through Q1. Yeah. Which, you can argue that on a new track that's advantageous. Maybe it's better for riders who know they have an advantage to come through Q1.
More track time.
And it's 15. It's like a 15-minute warm-up that you're guaranteed to get through because you've got an Aprilia. And then
and you're against the Yamaha.
And you're against the four Yamahas, maybe a handful of Hondas, and somebody who made a mistake in practice.
Yeah.
Morbidelli, probably. Maybe two of the KTMs.
Why is there a maybe in that?
All right, Morbidelli. And maybe the two KTMs probably pretty much guaranteed Binder and maybe Vinales when he's on the bike.
Yeah, when he's on the bike.
So you're up against that, which, look, these riders are better than I am. I would not, and I ride bikes, but they're still 200 times better than what I could ever do. But in the grand scheme of things, and we are hosting a motorsport podcast, not the best competition. So if you're on an Aprilia and maybe you're leading the world championship and you get to a circuit that you're maybe lacking a bit of practice time on, maybe it's a good idea because you've got a 15-minute warm-up to a 15-minute shootout against some of the best.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good idea in my book. But anyway, back to Digia. Back-to-back poles. Fourth in the US Grand Prix. Obviously, he was knocked off his bike in the sprint by a wild Marc Marquez.
Yeah, but then he kind of got his own back later on in the race.
Did he?
Yeah, he overtook him.
Oh, that's not getting your own back. Your own back would be knocking him off as well.
It wasn't a clean. I wouldn't say it was an easy
none
clean
of the overtakes
pass.
were clean. I mean,
like
Bears overtaking Acosta at the
Yeah,
turn 11. That wasn't clean.
I was not happy about that
That's
watching
squeaky
that.
bum time for you.
Yeah.
Big Acosta fan. Yeah, he's not doing. I mean, he's doing okay.
I mean, I'm pretty happy.
Are you?
Yeah, compared
Because he
to
won a sprint race.
Yeah.
So now he's a race winner. He isn't a race winner. He's a sprint winner. Oh my god, that drives me nuts. You have to decide one or the other.
Compared to Yamaha, I'm pretty.
Oh no, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But it drives me nuts because they're like, oh, Bez has won 5 consecutive Grand Prix. Yeah, he's also been off in just about every single sprint race. So clearly the Grand Prix are different to the sprint races.
Yeah.
So it's like, and we'll get on to Kimi Antonelli in a minute, but when he got that pole in Miami last year for the sprint, everyone's like, oh, he's their youngest pole sitter. No, he's not. He's the youngest sprint pole sitter. There's a difference. There is a difference. There is actually a difference. And we talked about this in last week's podcast, that now that they have a break in Parc Ferme between the sprint and the Grand Prix, sprint is different. It is different. It's not it's not a setup change thing that you design your car to do 20 laps instead of 50 odd, 60 odd laps. It's different.
Yeah.
It is different. And so is this, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, too early for a rant yet. 4th in the US, knocked off in the sprint, 3rd in Brazil, 2nd in the sprint. Both huge battles with Marc Marquez, which, let's be honest, whether Marc's at peak fitness or not, and whether the Ducati is there or not, they're both riding the same bike, and that's impressive.
Yes.
To be battling back and forth with an 8-time world champion is impressive.
Yeah, on a bike that is equal.
That is equal.
That is
absolutely
equal. We have to make that pretty clear. It's not like
they're
it's
both riding the GP26.
Yeah.
They are equal, and it's too early in the season for Marc to be like, oh, I want last year's rear wing on it.
Yeah.
It's too early. So that was impressive. 6th in Thailand, 8th in the sprint. It was Thailand. Everybody seemed to stay on, so that's about right.
Yeah.
You had 4 Aprilias, 3 Aprilias, because Fernandez was not there.
He was injured.
Fernandez in Thailand.
I think he was injured, was he not?
Super impressive. 4th in the standings, 50 points, 5 points ahead of Marc. Both he and Marc have stated that the bike is not worse than last year, but that the others are better. Makes sense. We've seen that. KTM have taken a step forward in tyre wear. They already had the speed, but they've not really mastered corner speed compared to the Ducati and Aprilias yet. It's funny that he's up for contract renewal at the end of the year, don't you think? Then he's suddenly Ducati's top rider.
Yeah, I have a very funny suspicion that we talk about driver market a lot in Formula One, because obviously that does change quite often. But I think this, because the regulation change next year, and because so many riders are out of contract, it is going to be crazy. I'm going to say it now. Expect massive shifts with drivers leaving, Ducati or Aprilia or Yamaha or Honda, and you're going somewhere you do not expect. Like, there's rumors already of insane switches that just make no sense.
Sure.
Like people going to Yamaha for first.
Well, I mean, that's a bit harsh. What's wrong with Yamaha?
Have you seen it?
Oh, they're just in a build year. They're just in a build year.
We're in build year last year.
Yeah, they're just in a build year. It's fine. It's like Mercedes last year. Kimi Antonelli is a driver I didn't have on my bingo card either, because holy hell, back-to-back wins. First proper pole position is what I've written, because I was already ranting in my head that sprint pole is not a thing in Japan. And he is now at the top of the Drivers' Championship to become the youngest driver in F1 history to do so. Also, first Italian since Giancarlo Fisichella in 2005 to lead the World Championship. What I like about this stat is that people often forget that this was after one race in 2005. What they don't mention is that Fernando Alonso in 2005, which we'll talk about in a minute, became the youngest driver ever to lead the World Championship at the Malaysian Grand Prix, which was the second race of the calendar.
Exactly.
Anyway, very impressive. He's also the first Italian to win back-to-back Grand Prix since Alberto Ascari in 1953.
Yes.
Which Grand Prix were those, Jake? 1953, you were there, right?
Sure.
Obviously.
I mean, it says it written down. Do you want me to say it?
Well, I was hoping you weren't going to be like, oh, it's written down in front of me, and you just happen to flow on with the conversation like we're some sort of professionals, if that's okay. Again, I'll tee you up again. Okay.
Cut. Shh.
Cut here. He's also the first Italian to win back-to-back Grand Prix since Alberto Ascari in 1953. Jake, can you tell me which Grand Prix they were?
Well, thinking back through time, it's got to be the Dutch and Belgian Grand Prix.
It is the Dutch and Belgian Grand Prix, Jake. How could you ever possibly know?
I've got a time machine.
So, if you're playing along at home, because Jake has already ruined the illusion, he has the notes in front of him.
Yeah, sorry.
Top 10 youngest championship leaders in history. Are you ready?
Sure.
Because there is quite a theme here. So, Charles Leclerc in the Bahrain Grand Prix of 2022. I'll leave a little pause. How old do we think he was? No, that's incorrect. He was 24 years, 5 months and 4 days old. Oscar Piastri, last year at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. That's absolutely spot on. He was 24 years, 0 months and 14 days old. Jake, do you want to read the next one? Remember to leave the dramatic pause for the people playing along at home.
Do I have to?
Yep.
Is this...
You also have to do the dun 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 dun.
No.
Dun 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 dun. Come on.
So how old was Max Verstappen?
When? When did he become the youngest driver to lead the championship, Jake?
Let me think. How prestigious do you want me to make it?
Very.
The King of the Streets in Monaco.
Monaco, 2021.
2021, the controversial year. We don't talk about that bit.
We talk about it all the time.
Okay.
And he does not mean all.
How old do you think he was? Do you think it follows the pattern that's been coming, or do you think it's...
No, you were absolutely incorrect. It was 23 years, 7 months, and 23 days. But here's where the theme comes in, because there's a bit of a... So Alonso, Malaysia, 2005, 23 years and 7 months and 22 days. Robert Kubica, Canada, 23 years, 6 months and 1 day. Kimi Räikkönen, Malaysia, 2003, 23 years, 5 months and 6 days. Sebastian Vettel, Abu Dhabi 2010, which is also the moment he actually took the victory. Yes. 23 years, 4 months and 11 days. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers who all led the championship for the very first time at 23 years old. And those drivers, Vettel, Räikkönen, Kubica, Alonso and Verstappen. I mean, that is quite a list of drivers.
It is. You've also got to remember that none of those races were the first race of the season.
No, Alonso and Räikkönen's second race. I mean, Vettel, last race of the season is quite impressive.
Yeah, that year was nuts, but, you know.
I don't think anybody at home will guess who's number 3 on this list. It's quite a while ago.
Yeah.
So for those at home, you've had enough time to guess, and you were wrong. It's Bruce McLaren, who took the lead in the championship at the Argentinian Grand Prix in 1960 at 22 years, 5 months and 8 days old. And then, I mean, this is why it's a little bit special for Kimi Antonelli, because the list gets arguably more statistically impressive at this point.
Yes.
Lewis Hamilton at the Spanish Grand Prix in 2007. Obviously, he didn't win that year because he should have pitted in China and stayed on track. But never mind.
He just didn't overtake Glock that year. You know, just overtake Glock and you win it.
22 years, 4 months and 6 days. So Kimi has absolutely smashed this list by 3 years, by nearly 3 years. So Kimi is 19 years, 7 months and 4 days old. Well, actually, he's now 8 days old.
Yeah.
As of time of recording. And I have to say, absolutely dominated that race in China.
Yes.
China.
Yes. I think you've also got to mention, yes, this list is very prestigious. And yes, they're very young and they're very talented. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, I mean, they're all world champions apart from Leclerc and Piastri.
Yes, most Kubica.
Oh, come on. Kubica would have been Kubica is a Le Mans winner.
He is.
And a World Rally champion.
I don't think these stats are very impressive, yes.
Yeah.
And not all of them are, first race of the season like Bezzecchi.
What are you saying about Giancarlo? He was the GOAT.
I'm not saying anything.
He was better than Button.
Is he world champion?
He was better. He was better
in 2005 in the first race of the season.
He was better at Renault than Button. Just saying.
Yeah, because Button wasn't really at Renault.
I think you find that he was.
For like a season or two.
Yeah. Same as Giancarlo.
I think you got to mention that a lot of these drivers at that time that they set these youngest championship leader set in the list, a lot of them were in the first few years of the sport.
Vettel was in his third year. Hamilton was in his first year. Raikkonen was in his second year.
Yep.
Kubica was in his
third?
Second year. Alonso was in his
fourth.
No, third, because he missed 2002.
Yep.
Verstappen was in his sixth year.
I think Verstappen is the only exception.
Piastri was in his third year. Leclerc was in his fourth year. But Hamilton, McLaren, Vettel, Raikkonen, Alonso, Verstappen, 6 world champions in that list. And I go back to China because it was absolutely dominating. He lost the lead to Lewis, overtook him on the first lap, and then just walked away.
Yeah.
So that's the domination drive that we see from world champions, just clean. Japan wasn't a given. He put it on pole, yes, but he dropped down to 6th after the first lap.
Yep.
It was sort of Piastri leading the way with Russell in the chase, building up to quite a good race. Antonelli managed to get through the Ferraris, and his pace was absolutely, pardon the pun, electric.
Yep.
And then he was set up for an overcut. And he was only able to do the overcut because he'd waited his time behind the Ferraris, saved his tyres, looked after running clean air,
good
got
pace.
back up, good pace, really good pace. And then, he did get fortunate with the timing of the safety car. But
it's not the safety car, it's the fact that Colapinto doesn't understand the fact they have mirrors.
Well, hang on now. We're not putting that in the podcast. I am not opening myself up to the Argentina hate. Thank you. Thanks. I don't need that in my life.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Because Ollie Behrman's having it and Haas is having it right now. But when the pressure was there, he put in the laps he needed to do, benefited, yes, from a safety car, but that's racing. If my mum had been she would be my dad, or whatever Verstappen said. Again, we've made that comment like 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
To be fair, it's a good comment.
It's a great comment. That is the way racing goes, and George was a bit whiny about it with Toto, but...
Yeah, I felt... Bearing in mind that it wasn't just Russell that got affected by the safety car coming out when it did.
Yeah.
Both McLarens got affected and Ferraris all got affected.
See?
Apart
from Charles Leclerc, who is the GOAT.
Okay. Where's his world championship?
Did you not see him swing around the outside of George Russell in turn 1? Did you not see that with your own eyes? Did you see that?
I saw that.
Did you see that?
But I also see that, in fact, he's not got a world championship yet.
Did you see that, though? Neither's George Russell. Did you see that, though? Did you see that overtake, though?
Yeah, I did.
Right. He's the GOAT.
Okay.
Just saying. Where did Lando Norris finish?
5th.
Just saying. He didn't make a round the outside of turn 1 overtake on anybody.
No, but he is a world champion.
Barely. Anyway. Anyway, the penalty in China in the sprint is perhaps the only blip on Kimi's record so far this year, would you say? Second in Australia. Nobody was beating George in Australia. He was on fire. And then dominated China, put in that kind of mature, thoughtful, but also brutal pace kind of race that we see from drivers like Hamilton, Verstappen, Vettel, Schumacher, Like, these are the drives that doth make a champion.
Yes.
Doth it not?
Yes. I think it's kind of the similar thing with Piastri last season. Very good driver, doing really well, but one mistake at Silverstone Piastri did kind of felt like it ruined his flow.
Mm-hmm.
Antonelli, yes, he made that, got that penalty. If he can prevent that happening again, or at least not to that extent, as serious as time penalties or grid penalties or whatever, or even license points penalties to the point where he gets a race ban. I don't know what his license is up to, but if he can prevent that, then yes, he's in for a definite chance of at least being in contention for a title.
Sure.
But because it's so early in the season, you don't really know where everyone's going to sit in summer, in whatever race it's going to be.
No, and last year Europe was difficult for him. I get that. So, I mean, we will see. But Big Fred's pretty happy, just to move it onto Ferrari quickly. Big Fred's pretty happy that after Miami, it's a completely different championship. And I've never heard any words that have filled me with more dread than that. Because Ferrari have a good car right now, right? So for him to say, Miami, different car, different championship, that fills me with dread. I've seen this roller coaster before, and I think we should end the championship now. Charles Leclerc, third in the championship, Kimi Antonelli, world champion. Done. Let's move on.
Okay.
Done. We're done. That's it.
Yes, the comment is a little bit questionable.
They've had a good season so far.
They've had a good season. They've got a very good car. The strengths of that car aren't quite coming through as we'd expect.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know whether that's something that Mercedes are counteracting with their sort of turbo and car in itself.
We've had a lot of tracks where being able to be quick in the straights has been an advantage, and Mercedes have an advantage in that area so that their advantage is exaggerated. However, Miami only has one really big straight that is straight, and it also has the back straight, but everything else is, tight, twisty corners. So yeah. I think what we'll see like the Mercedes monster away on the straights, and then the Ferraris catch back up in the tight, twisty bits. Yeah. And Canada kind of the same, right? It has that huge back straight, but everything else is kind of medium speed corners where the Ferrari is crisp.
Yeah, and obviously don't count out McLaren and Red Bull in this, because Red Bull has been struggling, but again, their engine isn't as fast as everyone else's, it seems. It seems to be that on a straight, they're struggling.
Yeah.
But in the corners, they can get it. Obviously, Max does help in that. Max seems to be a very, I'll get the best out of a bad car situation kind of driver. And I think he's doing that. And Hadjar's doing really well. Far better than I was expecting, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah. I was expecting him kind of a Leo Mawson-esque type deal. But seems to be holding his own to a degree in a pretty bad Red Bull car. Probably the worst in a very long time. Mm-hmm. You can't count out, because we've had such a big focus on speed in terms of straights with China and whatever.
It's not just about the straights, it's about the deployment, right? Like Australia is a track with medium to high speed corners, so less harvesting. Plus, it used to have 4 DRS zones, so it's got 4 areas of maximum velocity. Not great. China's got that huge back straight. I mean, just phenomenally enormous.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. Japan, the first sector, there's I saw a lot of things about software and sort of the harvesting patterns in that first sector, because you do want deployment, but you also want harvesting, and it's an opportunity to harvest, but it's not great. Plus then like the middle sector is just straight lines between 2 corners.
Yeah.
And then obviously your overtake mode can only be deployed down the start-finish straight, and then you're back into an area of high-speed corners. I think as we approach the European calendar, we will get more normal deployment ratios.
Yes, and I think teams that, not saying McLaren have an issue with deployment, they're using Mercedes.
They do have an issue with deployment.
But they do have something is different between the McLaren and the Mercedes that.
It's the gearbox.
But I think because Red Bull have, early on in the season, they looked the third fastest team.
I'd still argue that they are the fourth fastest team.
But they've recently sort of started to drop back, and I don't know whether that's because of their deployment, because of long straights and lots of sort of charging when they shouldn't be. I don't know whether that is impacting their pace.
I think Red Bull are 2 weeks away from absolutely annihilating everybody, and they just need to get it right.
Yeah, don't count them out in Europe.
Yeah, I think Red Bull are 2 weeks away from getting everything absolutely right and annihilating everybody. We will talk about them on next week's podcast. I just wanted to round out the Italy-themed podcast with the World Endurance Championship. Now, I know you're not a huge fan of the World Endurance Championship, so I'll just reel this off. Because we actually haven't had anything and there's very little news available for the World Endurance Championship because kind of it all just bursts into life over 1 or maybe 2 weeks and then it goes quiet for a while and then it bursts into life again and then it's very hilly in that aspect. But Imola is, as I said, the pre-season practice is this coming weekend from when this podcast goes out, and the 6 hours of Imola is the following weekend, so qualifying and the 6 hours of Imola. We have a new manufacturer this year in the form of Genesis, who are, I think, part of the Toyota group.
Haven't they taken over from Porsche or something? I think one team dropped off.
35 car grid, Jesus. Alpine, Aston Martin, who I just should mention, are in their second season now of the World Endurance Championship, which means they're in their first season without the Hammer of Bop handicap. So look at them. They should be pretty good. BMW in both Hypercar and LMGT3. Cadillac, Corvette in LMGT3. Ferrari in both categories, who are looking strong. And obviously last year at Imola, they were very, very, very quick. Ford in LMGT3. Genesis in Hypercar. Lexus, who are definitely part of the Toyota group in LMGT3. McLaren are running Garage 59 this year. Mercedes, who are just in LMGT3. Peugeot in Hypercar. Porsche in LMGT3. So yes, it looks like they have taken over the Hypercar spot of Porsche. Toyota, who are just in the Hypercar. So that's 14 manufacturers in total with 35 teams. Yes. Something like that. So yeah, Alpine, Aston Martin, BMW, Cadillac, Corvette, Ferrari, Ford, Genesis, Lexus, McLaren, Mercedes, Peugeot, Porsche, Toyota. No McLaren LMGT3 team apart from Garage 59 this year, which is interesting.
Yes, I'm waiting for the Hypercar. I think that's next year, is it not?
Well, Ford's Hypercar is supposed to be next year. So yes. So yeah, keep an eye out on Genesis. They'll be quite exciting. They will have the Aston Martin problem this year where they are given the same BOP restrictions in the first 3 races as Ferrari, who won the championship last year. So that'll be a problem. Aston Martin, again, first season without the BOP handicap, so they should be pretty quick. Ferrari reigning champions. Imola, huge success for them last year. The way Italy's going right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-2-3 for Ferrari in Hypercar. Alpine, the only bit of news I could find about Hypercar was that Paul Chair has said that a win for them in 2026 is highly likely. And of course, they finished second last year in Imola, so that's pretty good. I'm just excited for it to be back because I really enjoy WEC. I think it's absolute chaos. I know you're not a huge fan. Tim and I are both considering going to Belgium to Spa for this year. Obviously, you and I are going to BSB, so we'll be taking the podcast with us, obviously.
Yep.
Right, I'm going to end our special Italy episode there. Join us next week where we're going to be talking much more depressingly about Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Marc Marquez, Fabio Quartararo, the FIM, the FIA, the Behrman crash. All joyous things. This week has been a happy episode. Next week will be a ranty episode. Thanks again to Jake for joining me.
You're welcome.
All that's left to say is head over to Patreon to get this episode first. Although by the time you've listened to this episode, if you didn't watch it on Patreon, you've already missed being first. But next week's episode, go and head over to Patreon. You can get involved with the Patreon for free. I don't know why Jake's not a member. It's just a bit hurtful, really. Where you can post questions to us. You can get involved in the race chat on Patreon. You can get involved in the podcast chat on Patreon, all for free. You can get involved with From Our Perspective, all for free. Yes, there's absolutely no reason to not get involved in the Patreon. It's AAT Apex. It's exactly the same as our Instagram and Twitter profile and our YouTube page. You can get involved across the board for absolutely free. Yeah. See you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Peace.